before we get into this video, we have breaking news. Raekwon Smith was finally traded to Baltimore from Chicago. Now, it does bolster the defense. You got Patrick Queen, you got Raekwon Smith, now you got Pitters and Humphrey. It makes the defense a little more stout, but that don't get my palate going. You know what I mean? Like, we need a wide receiver. Deshaun needs to get up to date, and so he can play. And we need a big body receiver. I loved what Isaiah Likely did. Last Thursday, but we need a receiver. We need a receiver. So let's get into the Black Quarterback Series. So we're gonna start with the Bears and Cowboys. So game was not close. The game was not close. 48-29, I think was the final score. Chicago looked good in stretches. Like, they had good stretches, like the stretch in the third quarter where they were able to jump back into the game because Dallas couldn't stop the run game. But what can go wrong went wrong. They ended up letting Dallas score a touchdown, and then themselves couldn't get a 2-point conversion after they scored the touchdown. And did on a promising drive, they ended up fumbling it. Pollard returns to touch. 11 from heaven ends up scoring on a fumble recovery, and that puts him up 14, and that was pretty much the game there. So it's not too much to take away from this game because the Cowboys did what the Cowboys were supposed to do. Dak Prescott was 21 for 27, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, and Justin Fields was 17 for 23, 151 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. And Herbert had a good rushing game, 16 carries, 99 yards, touchdown. The defense played well. The defense played well for the chunks in which they got back in the game. But other than that, the defense was terrible. But you're talking about the Dallas offense. Pollard had himself a day. Michael Parsons is playing like Michael Parsons. And the Cowboys are looking good. And so, going from the Cowboys to talk about another NFC East team, some of the deficiencies that the Cowboys showed in this game, the Eagles should be licking their chops to deal with Dallas. Because I was talking to homeboy the other day, and he made a good point, because I was like, Dallas is going to be, tough to handle when they play the Cowboys again. And he's like, no, the Cowboys are kind of soft up top, and the Eagles are going to punish them. And then went to go look at the stats. Dallas gave up like 300 yards on the ground. I'm going to make sure and fact check it. But if you're going to give up 300 yards on the ground to Herbert and Justin Fields in Chicago, what you going to give up to the Philly? All of Philly's running backs and Jalen Hurts. So that's pretty much where I am with Philly. I'm not even really tripping off Pittsburgh like that. They ended up beating Pittsburgh 35-13. And I got Hurts, didn't even play most of the fourth quarter. He was 19 for 28, 285 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. His bestie, A.J. Brown, 6 receptions, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, just magical. And they literally scored on the same passing concept, literally on the same side of the end zone twice. Like, Pittsburgh looked non-existent yesterday. I'm not really concerned about Philly, but my thing about Philly is, are they going to be able to play this well when they're in a dogfight? And I think we've seen them in dogfights. I can't really remember right now, but we've seen Philly in close games, and I remember talking about Philly being in close games. But Philly looks really, really good against the top dogs in the NFC. Can they go to Kansas City and beat the Mahomes? Can they go to Baltimore and beat the Baltimore? Can they go up to Buffalo and beat the Buffalo? These are the type of things that you're going to have to face to win a Super Bowl or win a playoff game or any of these things. So I trust Jalen to do that. I just got to see it first to be completely sold on Jalen. I'm like 85-90% sold. When I'm super sold, you guys will see me in this jersey and all that great stuff. But I am 85-90% sold. But it's still early. It's only week 8. You got a lot of weeks to go. And speaking of, before I get to him, Malik Willis, 6 for 10, 55 passing yards. Didn't really do nothing. When you give Derrick Henry the ball 32 times and he rushes for over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, you can't really get a read on anybody. So I think I would be ignorant to try to do a thorough breakdown of Malik Willis when he only threw the ball 10 times. So if he starts next week, hopefully he passes more. But it just don't look like Mike Vrabel. And this goes back to even the preseason. It feels like Mike Vrabel is not really sold on Malik Willis like that. And you can kind of tell when guys are not really sold on the quarterbacks. So only time will tell. But I love Mike Vrabel, but it don't look like he's sold on Malik Willis. But who knows? He's in practice with him. We're not in practice with him. So we'll see. So speaking on the guy that the fan base is not sold on, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was 18 for 30, 252 yards, a touchdown and interception. And the interception, dude, I'm telling you, this interception was like a benchable offense. How bad this interception was. If I can find it, I'm definitely going to show it. It was terrible. It was terrible. I'm like, Russ, what are you looking at? Now, granted, I had to watch this game early in the morning, so I might be a little distorted. This offense is, if they can get to average, it would be an upgrade. They have the talent to be at least decent, So they showed flashes of greatness like that last drive, which led to the win, and the defense played great, ended up getting a pick. But y'all only put up 21 points against Jacksonville? Jacksonville is not very good. And people are Jacksonville been in some dog fights, and Jacksonville should have more wins because of this. They're Jacksonville. Jacksonville has proved to me that they can actually close these games out. I'm not happy with the way they're playing. And Russ played decent. He had one good run, but it's like, Russ, this is not what they paid you $200 million. It's like, I don't know if you guys watch basketball. It's like when the Timberwolves traded for Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert was worth $200 million that Utah shouldn't have gave him. They shouldn't have gave him that. But Utah gave it to him so he could stay in Utah. And then they ended up trading him. And at the early in the season, it's not looking like it was really worth it, right? And that's kind of how I feel about Russ. They could be 3-5 with Brock Osweiler. Like, let's be for real. They could be 3-5 with anybody else. And then when you look at this, and then you go back and you look at Geno, transitioning to Geno. You look at Geno, and Geno's 23 for 34, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he's running that offense masterfully. He's probably the best game manager in the NFL at this very moment. Best game manager right now. He got this offense running well. Now, granted, they had some lulls there. I think Tyler Lockett dropped a pass, but for the most part, they got this offense humming. They're playing hard. The defense held the New York Giants to 78 yards rushing. And I knew that early. I'm like, if you forcing the Giants to be a passing team, all bets are off. You're going to win this game. That's exactly what they did. They made the Giants play football they don't like playing, and they ended up winning. You look at Seattle, and then you look at Denver. What changed? The only thing that happened is one quarterback went there and the other one went there. One team looks like they got better, and Pete Carroll is coaching his behind off, and Superstar Russ is looking like Superstar Russ. Like, you doing drills and stuff on the bus or on the plane while people trying to sleep. Like, that makes you look bad, Russ. Like, and I want to be a Russ guy, because I know guys like Russ who was super humble and the nice guys, But I don't know. It's not looking good for Denver. Not looking good for Denver. Looking really, really good for Geno. I think Geno has that comeback player of the year locked up. Time will tell. They play really well. They're leading their division. So, moving on to another NFC West team, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was 31 for 44, 226 yards, 3 touchdowns. No surprise, D-Hop was 12 receptions, 159 yards, and a touchdown. I'm so glad D-Hop is back. Like, he's been in my series. He's been in my series since I started, because he played with Deshaun. So, good to have D-Hop back. It's getting to a point where I think Cliff Kingsbury needs to, go ahead and clock out. Because you can't get rid of Kyler and you can't get rid of anybody else. This team is too talented for you guys to be 3-5. Now, granted, they were playing my MVP and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins didn't do very much yesterday, but he did need to when Cook rushed for 111 yards and a touchdown, and Justin Jefferson's catch phone was 100 yards. But the mistakes they made in the fourth quarter was the reason that they lost, from the penalties to the bad interception to the miscommunication, which ended up in a snap, to the fumble on the punt. These are huge things that happened that dictate between winning and losing, and I think they only lost by a touchdown. These are the things that you're not supposed to do, and you should be these type of things don't happen to a Bill Belichick team. Now you're like, oh, Keith Kingsbury is not Cliff Kingsbury is not Bill. He's not Bill Belichick. But these type of things don't happen to McVay team. I think if McVay was in that same situation, I think they figure out a way to win. Because it's not like the Vikings played some great game. They didn't play a great game. They just executed more. And the Vikings had their own struggles. So, I don't know. I can't get a beat on this team. I put them in the same boat as the Eagles, just the other direction. They really got to do something for me to think that they're going to be really, if they even make the playoffs. They may slip into the playoffs because the NFC is terrible. So, decent game, I guess. D-Hop is back in rhythm. The offense looked decent, but offensive line protection is questionable. But they were also playing a really good unit in the Vikings. So, I don't know. I can't get a beat on this team. A lot to be desired from what I thought they were going to be going into the season. And so the final game, I saved this for the end because this is the most compelling game. It's probably the best game of the year, best game of the season, from two teams that you didn't even think you were going to even talk about. So shout out to Marcus Mariota, who's playing really well. And if he was drafted like 5 years early, because if he was coming up now, he would be much better than he is. PJ Walker, 19 for 36, 317 yards, touchdown and interception. Crazy interception. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you right here. Like, that interception is on PJ, but you look at it and you're like, come on, you don't expect the guy to make a Superman type play, you know? Foreman, 26 carries, and my Panther fans are probably gonna be mad at me when I say this. It's not like Foreman had a great game. He had 26 carries and he rushed for 118 yards. And the 3 touchdowns were like 5-yard runs. They were like 5-yard runs. So it's not like, oh my God, he had a great game. DJ Moore as well. DJ Moore with 16 receptions, 152 yards and a touchdown. He had a good game, but a lot of that was on one huge play, if I'm not mistaken, that sent the game into overtime. So the offensive unit looked good. They ran the ball well. They controlled pace. They did everything but win this game. They left points on the board. They missed the field goal going in overtime, or they could have kept it out of overtime and then missed the field goal in overtime. I expect him to not have his job today. And it's just, man, it was rough watching that game because I'm like, man, they really didn't win. They really did not win, and they really should have won. Rough week for them. But and the bright spot for the Panthers is that if you guys can get the number 1 pick, you guys will get a decent quarterback, because I think this is a decent quarterback draft. Everybody knows I'm not really a college guy like that, but I think this is a decent quarterback draft, and I think you guys actually have a legit chance to get another franchise guy, which you haven't had since Cam. And a lot of you guys are from the Cam Newton era anyway. So, but yeah, so that's all I got for y'all. Short quarterback week. Lamar played on Thursday, so that video is right here. Kansas City was off. So that's all I got for you guys. If you got any questions, anything, comment under here, and go check my community tab. I just got the community tab, and so I'm gonna be a lot more active over there for like stuff I can't do videos about. So have a good rest of the day. Enjoy football, and if you didn't see my Thursday night, or if I didn't put a Monday night review out, the game really wasn't that good. So if I did put it out, it's right here. So talk to you guys soon. Peace. So we had some other movements today that I had no idea about until after I recorded the video. So Chase Claypool went to the Bears. It's a great pickup by them. Wish he was in the Baltimore uniform, but I doubt they would trade with Baltimore. They would trade with Baltimore in any way possible. So yeah, that's a good pickup for them. Good pickup for them. It gives our guy Justin a proven receiver, but you lose your spearhead on defense, and they're in full rebuild mode now. So I guess we'll see what happens with them. Back to the video.